So a couple of weeks ago, I hit the highway. I had to go out and do what I said I was going to do and meet up with my GoFundMe donors, and I did. I started out in Philadelphia. I hit Indiana, and then I had to go meet somebody that's actually an internet legend, a guy named Dave Morgan, and he lives way out in Montana. So out to Montana I went. I met up with Dave. I met up with his buddy Dave, and I met up with his buddy Bruce, as well as some other people that were there. But Dave has a compound. He's been an internet legend for a long, long time. And he's got a compound out in 𝗏𝗏, Montana. And this is a serious place. Like, for instance, this is a Montana car alarm. It's a whole different world out there, completely. And when I say you're off the grid, you're off the grid. But to get to Dave's compound, we went even more off the grid. I'm talking a 12-mile ride from 𝗏𝗏 just to a side-by-side road where I followed these guys up for another good 10 miles on some seriously rocky roads. But we finally made our way up there. And this was absolutely like heaven on earth, basically. Basically, this was an amazing place. And what's happened is not only does Dave has his retirement home up there, but he also has his other friend Dave that seems to be managing a serious off-grid campground. You can find these guys on HipCamp. I'm going to do an entire video on this separately, but I mean, this place completely blown me away. And I've been to a lot of different compounds, we'll call them, for people that know what's coming, people that are awake, that are aware, that know what's coming and have the means to do something about it. Or if they don't, they've been putting together piece by piece for years and years and years. Dave's been on the internet for 18 years. There's not too many people I know that have been on the internet longer than I have, but he's been there. So I took a look around his complete compound, and this place is phenomenal. This was all handcrafted. Everything was built by his buddy Dave. Straight up, period. Check this out. How badass is that? This is this guy's mountain retreat for his retirement, and he's also dual purposed it and made it into a camping ground for anybody that wants to get truly off the grid. And as you can see by the reviews, This place gets amazing reviews. Dave and Becky, the two people that live up there as well and run the camp, I believe, are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. And Dave handcrafts everything. You'll see it in the video that I'm going to put up on Jailbreak Overlander, because I'm going to put this campsite up on its own video because I've got so much footage. It's astonishing. And for those that are interested into things that go bump in the night, things that might have large feet, yeah, as you would imagine, they're up here. It's amazing. But I had to move on. I had to get over to the Sage Wall and get footage of that for another subscriber that asked me to go up there. Subscriber and friend and author, but on that, I'll digress. At any rate, this is what it looked like when I sat down with Dave and we talked a little bit about current events, things of that nature, blah, 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 so forth and so on. So here, as they say, we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, it's been a while since I posted a video, but I have been off the proverbial grid, so to speak. And like I said, maybe a month or so ago, I did that GoFundMe, and I said I'm going to be hitting up all the people that were on that list. Well, this is Dave Morgan, and you may or may not know him from the 𝗏𝗵𝗿𝗆.com, as well as a million different podcasts. He's the only person I know that's been making videos longer than I have. And I'm at his property, which an entirely separate video, we'll get into that, but this is a serious property. Dave, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your donation. I appreciate you having me up here, and I appreciate you guys treating me like I'm at home. So,
my pleasure, Richie. I'll tell you what, I watched you for years and years, and felt bad, when your channel got taken down. And I did follow you for a little while, I'll be honest. I kind of fell off, out of sight, out of mind. And they know that. They know that. That's how it works. And, Gons and several others that went along and just got, taken out. And it's, freedom of speech. And that's one of the things, I don't want to talk too much, so I want to give it back to you. But the one video that I'm the most proud of is when I talked about John, brother John F. And he talks about Bernanke, and then Ron Paul showed him a silver coin, and it kind of showing how the beast is going to be taken down. And so I clipped that, talked about it, edited it, and then I said, but regardless of how much real money you have, if you can't go where you want to go, say what you want to say, be who you are. In other words, if you lost your freedom, it doesn't matter how much real money you have.
Right.
And that's the end of that video. And then I did my favorite movie, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, talking, going up and down the line. Just, give me one day. Remember, just one day, if you could come back and fight him, would you or not? Because the guys wanted to turn around and leave, right? And he inspired them to know how valuable freedom is. It's priceless. So anyway, I'm a little off track, but that was the whole point of that getting you taken out. It's like free speech is dead. And
they took me out like that, like a light switch, dude. And like you said, you mentioned Gons. For people who don't understand, Gons is Face Like the Sun. Are you kidding me? I can't think of the name. Age of Deceit. Age of Deceit 1, 2, 3, and 4. You just watched the fourth one that he put out, and you just did you did an interview with him.
It wasn't live, but I did an interview with Gons.
Okay.
I had to watch it a few times, and I feel like that's one of my areas of, I wouldn't say expertise, but I'm pretty well studied in it.
I would say that would be your expertise, dude.
Pretty good in it, and I had to watch it 2 or 3 times to really get it down before I thought I could do a proper interview, because he covered things pretty darn deep.
He is into the minutiae of things. I watched Age of Deceit 4, and if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's only available on his X or Twitter platform, correct?
Correct.
Don sent it to me, and I was expecting more of the same, opening the pits and everything, but it kind of is, but it's explaining what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin isn't. Is that safe to say?
It is safe to say, and I want to expand on that, because a lot of people that are aware are not. And I'm not saying I've got it all down. None of us do.
Absolutely.
I really want to force the word technocracy on everybody, because we are not going into a communist system. We're not going into a socialist system. We're going into an AI-dominated technocracy. And you know where that started? It started in the 30s. And you know who the kingpin was in Canada? Elon Musk's grandfather.
It was. And I learned that from, you just brought them up yesterday, True Stream Media. It was one of the first videos that I ever actually had to stop the video and Google what the word meant. I'm like, what does a technocracy even mean? And ironically, here we are right now. But go ahead.
Well, that's the point, that, the idea of the WEF and Klaus Schwab saying, you'll own nothing and be happy. What people don't understand, a technocracy is a technical takeover by engineers and scientists, and there will be no government, basically. Well, you're going to go to a kiosk and interface with an AI, and it's going to take your picture ID, or it's going to take you face and say, oh, hello, Richie. How are you this morning?
That's right.
You know what? Hey, we noticed that your air pressure's a little low on your left front tire. We'll just want to give you that information before you leave the parking lot. I mean, it's getting so bizarre.
Well, that's putting a nice sheen on it, because I assumed if I ever walked up to the kiosk, it would say, "Hi, Richie, stand here for one moment. We have some agents coming to help you right now."
I know.
I mean, listen. Like I said, I've been at this for 15 years. You've been at this longer. First of all, honestly, did you ever actually think you'd see this happening in our lifetime?
No, I want to backtrack and circle back a little bit what I said, because I made an earlier video, and when I was very pro, I've always been freedom, right? If you say, give me one word of what your life means, it's freedom for everybody, okay? It's not precious metals. I mean, that's very much part of what I do. But,
absolutely.
So I made a video about how important the internet was to level the playing field, because I saw the day would come where almost everybody would be connected to the web. And I saw it only from a positive perspective. And I said, everyone's going to have access to better information about their health, better information about, and get a good education. If you don't have any money, you could get into these schools that are, I'm not a Harvard freak or anything, but, get all this stuff for free. Little when I made that video did I realize that you would be taken off the web 10 years later because they weren't liking what you were saying.
And the beauty thing is I had so many subscribers that I had actually met over and over, year after year, face to face. I could understand if they took me down because I said something like, "It's time, lock and load." And I never once ever even alluded to that. I basically told people to prepare. Mind, body, spirit, and be prepared. If you can't store it, because people don't understand how hard it is to store a year's worth of water and food. Water is massive, and if you can't do it, you're going to have some medium of exchange. And I told you this last night, the biggest thing I hear is, gold's not going to help you, gold and silver. Well, what if everything falls? People like us will not take the mark. We won't be able to buy and sell. We're going to have to do something on our own. And I'm looking down the road like, what if we come through the other side? What if we start winning this, like in Terminator or something like that? I can't see the harm, because when we first started doing this, everybody was talking truth, freedom, preparing, and stacking. And now these new generations don't even know what gold and silver is. And that's all by design. And that must drive you crazy. I mean, it must just drive you crazy.
Well, it does. It affects me from the aspect of what did I do wrong, or what could I do better, or what didn't I do right, or did I do enough? And you can't get on your darker moments and say, gee whiz,
We talked about this last night. You've done more than enough, brother. But I know the feeling.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. And I mean, you guys, there's a whole nother video about this entire place. We are off the grid. Starlink has a hard time every once in a while up here, but cell phones aren't a thing. So, but go ahead.
Well, I think it comes down to, the era you're living in, and, everything that you learn or don't learn. And the problem for me, there's several, and you can, talk about which one's the most important. But to me, the idea of the foundation of what we were purportedly done from the beginning was a very much individual kind of situation where you were able to blossom or bloom. And that meant rugged individuality, where the guy could do almost everything on his own. And now we've gone to the other extreme where people can't do anything on their own.
I said that to the other Dave this morning. I said, where I'm from, people think of like a first aid, their preps are a cell phone and a credit card. And I'm like, yeah, those, people aren't prepared to do anything anymore. Yeah. And if you are, you're labeled.
Yeah.
You used to be a grown-up. You used to be a learned elder. Now you're a prepper conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
If you see what you... Go ahead.
Well, the more skills that you have, I like to be, what is it called? Something master of none.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
You can fix your own sink. If it plugs up, you can, put a simple pipe or thread a pipe. I mean, people don't even know how to do what a pipe threader is.
They call the guy. They call the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, call the guy, so I'm on TV.
My dad just showed me, throw it in a vise, put this on it, clamp it down. Oh, okay, that's how you thread a pipe. It's really not very hard,
no.
But unless you've seen it done it a couple times, you say, oh my God, what do I do? What do I need? You don't even know if it's a plumber or not. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Usually that's a gas fitter, but yeah.
It's okay. We'll see.
It's all good. It's my trade, so it's all good.
But it's
all good.
Yeah.
So let me, where we are right now is an enormous plot of land. I'm not going to call it a compound because there's no gates, there's no fences, there's no armed guards, and there's nobody out there shaving their heads besides me. And why would you move? Why would you set up a place to retire this far off the beaten track? Because this is a 12, 15 mile dirt road in that's pretty rugged. And then it's a 12-mile road from a one-horse town. Literally.
Yeah.
Like you are out, like to go get groceries, that's going to be a day.
Yeah. Well, as you probably know, I have an engineering background. And so when you look at the real world, and, I'm kind of proud to be one. It was tough to get an engineering degree. It's not easy.
Absolutely.
And so you look at extremes. So if you do like a forcing function, how many times can you bend a wing before it's going to break? So the math on that is you go from zero, it's static, you have no pressure on it whatsoever at all, and to the extreme where it's an infinite load, it's going to break somewhere in between there.
Right.
So you start to think in extremes. Well, that's kind of how my mind has been trained after 4 years of schooling. It's not indoctrination. I mean, engineering school it's real. But the point is, what is the worst case scenario? Well, no freedom of speech, basically no freedom. So what do you have to do to be as free as possible? You have to be self-sufficient. And you have your own water, you got to have your own animals, you got to have your own garden, you got to have your own heat, you got to have your own electricity.
Now, I just took a really nice hot shower in this place. You've got all the modern conveniences in here, because why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you said yesterday, sometimes you're going to be snowbound.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. But this is all completely 100% off the grid. You're on solar, well, and self-sufficient.
And propane, yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's so many people are striving for that, and so few have been able to accomplish it.
So the thought came in, this is what you would need. And then I kind of put it aside, like, that sounds too extreme.
It sounds like a big, yeah.
But then I started looking at, and I've got friends from all scales. I've been with investment bankers. I've been with people that were stacking, a 10-cent silver coin a month. So I'm looking at everything in between. And the more I realized that let's say people that could afford it the best were doing this at a much bigger scale than this, I thought, well, if these guys are tied into the beast system and they know what's coming,
right,
and this is what they're doing to prepare, then maybe it isn't that extreme
at all. And to put a point on that, for the last year or so, for some reason, the mainstream, which is owned by the same elites that we're talking about right now, has been showing how they've all got underground bunkers, and how the government spent the one out in New York or Washington, they spent a ridiculous amount on this underground bunker. Taxpayer money, but taxpayers aren't allowed in.
Yeah.
Like they're showing it off. Like they're doing this for real. Like I think the whole island of Hawaii is basically Oprah, Zuckerberg, and The Rock.
Yeah.
All living underground after they burned it down. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Even my dad knew that. Even my dad understood that was real. And I'm like, you don't see a problem in that? Some beam from the sky could just completely obliterate an entire town, and then magically rich people show up and buy it all up, and you're not allowed back on your own property. Like that's a problem. We're living in a movie right now. A variety of movies are actually playing out right now, but in real life.
Yeah.
So when you see that happening, and like you said, the people you have access to, it's a wide spectrum. From the guy that's just stacking a silver coin every month or so, and guys that are buying pallets. The more money you have, the more information you have available. Period. You're tied in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We try. Everything I've ever said in a video is based off of something they've allowed me to see.
Yeah.
Once in a while you get a whistleblower or something like that, but usually it ends poorly for me or them. Yeah. So you've had access to a lot of people. Was there anything in particular that made you say, screw it? Because, I mean, this is a big compound. I don't want to call it a compound. This is
Well, you know, first of all, looking back, okay, I'm to the other end of the spectrum. Nothing happens. Life goes on. It's better. You know, Trump fixes everything.
Right.
You know, and all that. So now, well, would I be happy? Would I be relaxed? Would I have what I want? Would I be? And the answer is yes. You know, so if everything just kept going or got better, would I like to be happy here retired? The answer is yes. So would I keep here the whole year if everything goes wonderful? Probably not.
Right.
I'd probably be here for 6 months out of the year.
Plus, you're driven, dude.
Yeah.
You could have just hung it up and retired 5 years ago if you wanted to. But this is what you.
Yeah, that's a passion. It's a calling to me.
Yes.
Like it's something that I felt like very blessed, by the way, because most people go through life for a job that they hate. They get their 30 years in, they get their pension or whatever, and they just did time more or less.
Right.
Where I got to live my passion, and it's a win-win paradox. I got to invest and do what I do, what I think to the best of my ability, share it with others, so I get to win at the same time they get to win.
And the degree you got, I'm going to forget. I don't mean to interrupt, and I know you'll pick it up because you'll remember. But the degree you got is one of the few that doesn't actually indoctrinate you. It actually opens your eyes whether if you're up for it.
Yeah.
Like when you saw, let's say if you saw an airplane smash into a steel building, and just let's say hypothetically, if you saw a airplane hit a building and then explode, and then later on someone said, well, the building fell down because that plane that exploded, all the gasoline dumped all the way 100 floors down and then exploded again. Your engineering degree would allow you to go, wait a minute.
Yeah, aeronautical engineering, and you got to take so many things, the strength of materials.
Have you ever flown on a plane?
Oh, once or twice.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right, go ahead. Back to, I'm just saying. I know a lot of people that have master's degrees, but things that it's absorb everything in this book, repeat it to us on paper. Here's the test. You're done. You just got indoctrinated.
Right.
If you got a degree in bad information, what good is that degree?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I run into a lot of people like that, and that's not the case. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know where to pick up from
Pick
here.
up wherever you want. It's all editing's an amazing thing.
We looked at the big picture, and going back to gold and silver. Where do you start if you're just living paycheck to paycheck? Don't buy gold and silver. You need food. You need water. You need friends. No one is going to make it at the top of the mountain with a shotgun and a year's supply of food and a great cabin off grid. We need each other.
Right.
And that's the most important thing I could convey. And I think Chris Martinson, a friend of mine, he does a lot in the same arena that I do. And he has different capital values. And one is, your community, because that's what you're going to need. And, as you've been here now, it's a small community here, but it's not me alone top of the mountain with dry food, when we've got live food, a lot of live food. And, so I just think the idea is that you got to be more self-sufficient, and you also need to care for others, and there's that balance. I mean, and you can pick it up from here, but I mean, one thing that you do is you give a lot. One thing, when I first dialed into your channel, who is this guy? From what? Boston. I've been there once, so we won't go there because it's kind of a crude story.
You ever been to a place called the Combat Zone by chance? Combat Zone was no joke. Most tourists don't make it in or out, but on that we'll digress.
But and I thought, man, this guy's got a heart. This guy speaks right from the heart, and it's just like locked me in. And he's going, man, this guy goes where I really don't want to go most of the time, because I try to stay a little bit to the side of the envelope. I will not. There's points I will not ruin my integrity.
Absolutely.
I will go way past the line if it's my integrity involved. But when it comes to trying to fit in, and it's like learn to fish. I'm going to throw that net as wide as I can.
Right.
Because I might help somebody.
It makes sense.
But
it makes sense.
On the other hand, I'm not a wimp. It's like that's the line. I've got to go over it, because if I don't, then everything I say I stand for, I'm lying to myself.
Right. I totally agree with that. The thing that I love the most is that when we talked last night, off, just shooting the breeze, we both had the same question, and we didn't have the answer. We both feel like we need to do more. And recently I'm noticing a lot in the comments and interactions with subscribers, the worse things get, because I've never seen such insane weather. We'll just leave it at that, as I have in 2025. Every time you turn around, it's just one calamity to the next, and I don't see that stopping. And then, I mean, speaking of that, today, we talked about this last night. As of today, physics.org, science.org are saying any day now that volcano off the coast of Oregon is going to go off. Any day. They won't drop the subject. And it really, really worries me because I've been showing maps from the United States Navy for years. I don't know why they made them. I don't know who made, well, I know who made them, but I don't know why they've been available to us, but it shows that whole area underwater. That volcano worries me. I don't know, with all the stuff that's going on, the main thing I'm seeing in the comments is, you know what? You've woken up everybody you can. Mm-hmm. It's time to focus on yourselves. And I'm like, I can't. Mm-hmm. I can't. Well, you know, what are you going to do when you meet the big man and say, yeah, I gave up at the end. It seemed like nobody else was going to wake up. It feels like you still have more to do, right?
I want to go through the finish line as fast as I can. I don't want to just get there and barely make it. You know,
right.
I just want to keep on going, and like your numbers up, okay, fine. But I finished strong because I think that's the best way to live. Because if you're holding back, then what's the point? And yet, you know, like I just said, I want to contradict myself. You got to set some boundaries. I mean, we start using the F word, you know, we could be taken off on this video for all we know.
Yeah.
But the deal is you've got to know what you're going to go all the way for. And I know that. And that's freedom. And so, you know, you could look at spiritual side, you look at any side you want. But a lot of people will compromise. The old idea to get along is tolerance, and they put all these words on us like you're being a good person. If
you're not doing anything wrong, why do you care if the government's always watching you? That's a huge one. Am I on the same page?
Right on. Yeah.
I don't understand how. I get it. I actually do understand it. If people understood who's the real enemy, if people understood that, we've given the answer a million times. If people understood what the real enemy was, they'd have to change. And I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everything changes. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going fishing, I'm going hunting, pay your taxes, you're good to go, do your thing. It's not like that anymore. Every time you turn around, somebody is encroaching one way or another. You know, oh, that property you own? Well, there's a tax we just came up with, and it just doesn't seem to stop. And people are just way too comfortable and willing to go along with it. Or just way too busy working 3 jobs a day just to barely make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane. Have you ever, I mean, this is your cup of tea. Would you ever even imagine as a young man thinking that the national debt would ever be at 37 trillion and people wouldn't be in the streets with pitchforks and they don't even care. It's not even a topic.
No, one of the many books I've read, and one in my basement is called Bankruptcy 1999. And that was during the Reagan administration. They had the Grace Commission come in and say how to fix the government. And you might think of it like Doge of the early days. I mean, that's 26 years ago. And you read that book and you know that we're not going to go forever. And yet here it is, as I just said, 26 years later. And circling back a little bit what you just said at a lower level, you know, one thing that I thought, well, you know, I've given the message, it's strong, it's easy to convey, most people get it. You can't print yourself wealthy, eventually it doesn't work. So you're going to buy some precious metals to hedge. And then I realized, why aren't people doing this? And I got there, just what you said a minute ago. It's if they actually took the action and didn't look at me as like infotainment or some entertainment channel.
Conspiracy.
And went and actually bought silver. They have made a commitment. And they've bought into this, to the truth, really, that these paper currencies always fail. But they don't want to go there. Because if they make that commitment, they've actually admitted to themselves that really there's something to what I'm saying or conveying or teaching. And so they just look at it like, oh, I'm just going to watch this guy, it's making sense to me, but never really look at it in a way that's going to affect their lives. They just want to see it for fun. And that really started to bother me after a while, and then I just had to let it go. It's like, look, all I can do is all I can do. Their free will will do whatever they're going to do.
That does make sense, because if you do decide to actually start investing in gold, and this isn't an invest in gold and silver video by any means, it just happens to be what Dave does. But I've been talking about it since the beginning, because in the beginning it was more widely accepted. People were cool with it because it was for some time down the road. And things weren't quite as bad 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. But now it's just crushing. You know, even with this Doge thing in place, I sit there and I watch the national debt clock, and you can watch what Doge is or isn't doing. And I'm like, national debt's still going up. I mean, new president, we've hit a new plateau. We're at 37 trillion and climbing. You know, it's insane. And then for the president to walk out and instantly launch his own Bitcoin, it's called a meme coin. All the big YouTubers do it to their audience. They'll launch a coin, and I mean, these guys will make a couple of million in a day, and then they just pull the rug out from under their own subscribers, and nobody gets in trouble for it. It's the president did it, and people didn't see that as a harbinger of things to come, you know?
Well, we talked about this last night, and there's a direct, and I've said this many times, there's a direct correlation between the debasement of the currency and the debasement of the moral structure of the society.
Yeah.
And the worse the inflation gets, the worse the currency gets debased, the more people get away with it. And I think it becomes almost a subconscious thing. Well, if he did it, then it's okay for me to do it. Or if they're cheating on this, then it's okay for me. And you just see the moral decline just accelerate at the same time the currency starts to accelerate downward. And, you know, currency becomes worth less, and then it's worthless.
Well, yesterday I came in, one of the things I said to you was that it was a big buzz on the way up here before I lost cell service. I was listening to a video or something on the way up here. And somebody was like, dude, Bitcoin just hit another amazing record. And I said that to you, and you said, the more Bitcoin goes up, the less the dollar's worth. What does that mean to the layman?
Well, it means that there's something wrong.
I wish I just said layman instead of layman. Whatever, go ahead.
So at the end of all great inflations, people they're smart, you know, and they do what's practical. They do what will help them. So during the 30s, there were all kinds of community dollars made, you know. So it was a piece of paper, wooden nickels. That's where that came from. Gold backs, you know, silver coins.
It's funny that I brought one of these to give to him, and he brought one of these to give to me, the identical thing. I don't understand what these are. Maybe we can get to these before the end. But these are very, very interesting. I want your opinion on them. But go ahead, finish your sentence. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, so the whole idea is that at the end of the great inflations, people do things to protect themselves. And that means there's all kinds of ideas that spring up.
See, I'm not that big a fan of Bitcoin, but I'm free market, so people think Bitcoin's the way to go. I mean, Max Kaiser and I would say we're fairly close. You know, and I interviewed him, he's interviewed me, but he became a Bitcoin maxi, and that's fine. You know, look, it's not my job to tell anybody how to run their lives, right?
But how about this? Because everyone's already chomping at the bit right now. When it first came out, everyone kept saying it was made up and the government can't control it. That is not the case. The government is actually embracing it. They're going to force it on everybody. Am I right?
Right. Well, I'm a man of principle. And the principal idea of Bitcoin was it was a anonymous peer-to-peer payment system. I'm for that. That's like the libertarian thing. That's the end of a great inflation. People have a solution to the problem. Well, it's anything but that now. They can trace it, they can track it. It's very slow, and it's not a payment system. Oh, that's okay. It changed everything it's supposed to be. Let's not adhere to the principle it started out on. Let's turn it upside down and say, hey, it's just a way that you never spend it, you only hold it, and it only goes up. That doesn't sound like the kind of financial thing I want.
Right. And the funniest thing is the guy that allegedly anonymously created it, I've got him on video under oath saying, that's not me. I didn't do that. I've got the Nagasaki, whatever his name is.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Allegedly the most richest guy in the world, and he's denying it. He's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
I work, actually, you know.
Well, people ask me what I thought of Bitcoin in 2014. When did it come out? 2000 and something. Anyway, it had been about 3 or 4
It was a while ago.
It was in. So I really thought about it and put it, you know, something together, and it's called My 2 Bits About Bitcoin. And I got it all done, and I said, if it really catches on, the government is not going to allow a competitor to the Federal Reserve System. It just won't go.
No way.
And so
greenbacks ain't happening.
I was just about done with it. I was, proofing it for the, 3rd time, and Richard Grove got a hold of me. And he said, I think this has something to do with the NSA or whatever. And he gave me some pretty good evidence. So I put that into my article. I'm not saying 100%, but there's a lot of factors that have come to the fore since then that are not necessarily some guy named Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this idea. There were some other papers previous to its launch that suggest that perhaps the NSA was at least percolating on the idea.
I think I saw that either independently or on your post. Is that post still up?
It is.
Because I want to link that to this video. So, all right, go ahead. I didn't mean.
No, that's it. I'm done. I mean, look, if you want to do Bitcoin, fine. If then, there's competing currencies at the end of inflation, competing ideas. Let the best idea win. Let the best 3 ideas win. I don't care. I want a solution that works for people. If Bitcoin works for you, fine. As far as I'm concerned, I'm more of a realist. If the grid goes down, I want my silver coins. I don't want to go on my phone and say, Richie, you don't have a signal and I owe you this money. No. I want to pay you ahead of time or have a relationship where we trust each other. I'm going to get it to you by Pony Express and we're going to be good.
Just like every other massive calamity, like the recent world-changing event that happened 2019, 2020, I won't mention it, YouTube. The same fella that warned us that was coming after it was here also warned us. I think it was Klaus Schwab. He worked at a World Economic Forum, something like that. I think he retired. They got a good guy in there from Nestle now, the guy that wants to privatize water. So you have to buy all your water out of the faucet, the whole 9. Good guy. He literally told us that the coming grid down event is going to make COVID look like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not, what
the grid down, I think, I just got done with the Money Show, and we talked about that when you first landed here, and they had us on a panel, and they had 4 main aspects. They had AI, cryptocurrency, precious metals, and foreign exchange. And one of the questions was, what do you fear most from the big picture of going wrong? And the first guy said PE, which is private equity. And this is where all the big boys gather and they do their private equity. Private means it's not on the stock market. The public isn't.
That's not the same as insider trading, right?
No.
Okay.
But it's the big guys. And so that was his answer. And the host was kind of pushing me toward precious metals and said, beg your pardon, but it's the bond market, it's the debt market. It's what all this, we talk about all the time, not Richie and me, but the big picture is 37 trillion in debt. There's really 20 trillion on top of that Professor Skidmore found, and Catherine Austin Fitz brought to everybody's attention. So we're looking at probably 60 trillion that we can absolutely show, and you're not going to win here. And so that's what I brought up as the worst case.
That would put every American in debt for like 500,000,
something like that.
Something like that, because what every American taxpayer is indebted automatically is like $250,000. So if the number is wrong by 50%, that's insane. That's insane. It's unsustainable.
It's totally,
and I think they know that. I think they're overfilling the tank right now to sink the ship.
Well, in my workshop, I said on the same theme that it's not a math issue. It is, but this people goes over their heads. Because what it really becomes is what's called the crack-up boom, which von Mises wrote about, and that is a psychological event. When, your hometown says to you out in the street that, I'm making this much a week and I got this much left over and I'm spending everything I can today because a month from now I know it's not going to be worth very much. So I'm buying more tuna fish, or I'm buying more peanut butter, whatever. So once it becomes a psychological event, you really can't turn it back. Mathematically, we've known it for years, but no one's really taken action. Once acceleration of inflation takes hold where the average person says, I'm not getting enough food, I'm not getting enough gasoline, my heating bill, I can't afford it, then that's when they start to rush to buy anything that isn't a piece of paper.
We're damn close to that right now.
I think so.
Because I've run into way too many people that just, like I said, 3 jobs, and they still can't make ends meet, and they certainly can't save or, hope.
Yeah.
Like it's just existing.
Yeah.
And this new threat of AI is literally taking jobs away. UPS is talking about they're rolling out robots to deliver to your house. Yeah. What about the guys this is insane.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, that's great, ChatGPT. It's like, whatever it's called. Don't use that thing. And when ChatGPT comes to your door and says, you need to sign for this, where's your delivery guy? Like, this doesn't make any sense, but it's happening, and it's happening faster and faster. And we find out, I mean, they let us know everything they've got is usually 25, 50 years ahead. Mm-hmm. We don't even know what they have. This is getting insane.
I want to finish the theme on the money show.
So
no, it's good. The next round of questions was, what's the biggest fear in the financial system? And then the next was, what is your biggest fear of what could go wrong or whatever? And I forget what the first guy said, but I said a cyber attack. And I've written about this in the premium service, the paid service, several times. And you have to go and not do much research at all, just a couple of words into a search engine, and look at some of the higher ups in Oracle or Microsoft or any of the tech companies on how secure their security is. It's not very secure. And we're getting attacked all the time.
Right.
You take down, and I said it in the panel, it was pretty brief, but you take out a money center bank with a cyber attack, then the banks go down because they're all connected. And then it's whose fault? Well, whoever they want to say it's their fault.
Right.
It's it might be the Russians. It could be the Russians.
Isn't it amazing at the age that we're at right now? When we were growing up, it was the Russians, and here we are again. Like, they've gone through so many bad guys that we're back to the Russians again. I just find that comical. Sadly comical, but comical nonetheless. But I mean, you could wake up any day now and everything's just gone. And that's it. You're done.
Yeah, and that's a good way to reset the system.
Well, it's up on their website. It's been up for 5 years. That's exactly what they want. They're showing us. That's what we want to do.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I don't want to, I don't like playing the fear card, but I call them as I see them.
That's all it is.
Or not, but the system cannot continue. And, I'll be consistent here. I've often said that I do not see the dollar going to zero. I don't see it going completely worthless. But I do see the transition where they want the new system. And the new system, unfortunately, is the banks win. And not only do they have not the control that they have now, they have more control if they get what they want.
Right.
They can tax you at the point of sale. And if you buying too many vapes, because they said, Richard from Boston, you can only have this much vapes in a month, you can't buy anymore. Well, we're looking after your health.
Right. Well, you tie that with the social credit system, because they go hand in hand. The digital, It's a funny thing that we had a pandemic that I've never seen in my entire lifetime, and I'm almost 60, where the entire world shut down. The entire world shut down. And the first thing Congress was worried about was trying to push through the digital dollar. The entire world's locked down. Quickly, digital dollar. And it didn't go through. But I mean, it showed you exactly what their intent was. These guys go digital dollar, which is basically Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's like a Bitcoin.
Same thing for someone like me. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's not something you can actually have on you. You go to make a sale, and they're like, "We heard what you were saying in town hall. Unfortunately, your points don't allow it, so you'll have to be good for a month, and then don't eat any steak or don't drive or any." It's insane. I've seen things like this, but I've only seen them in very, very small areas like Utah.
Right. Well, I think it started in Utah, but I'm not certain about that. But these gold backs, this is a 1/1000th of an ounce of silver, or
gold.
This is gold.
And if you melt it down, it's actually worth its weight in gold.
Well, Mike Adams is the health minister. Yes. He took these different denominations and melted them down and weighed them, and all of them were at least as good as what's printed on here. They're beautiful artwork. They come in different denominations. This is 1/1000th, and then there's 1/100th, and they go in different denominations. But that, I think, is what would it be? Something like $3, I think, melted down. And
my last run, one of my subscribers in Utah, she gave me a bunch of these, and her husband cooked a phenomenal steak. And I did what I do with everything. I gave them all away, and I'm thinking to myself, you probably should have saved a couple of those stupid. But I found it really strange that I brought one to give to you, and you brought one to give to me. So at the end of the day, it's all even.
Yeah. Well, let's explore some a little more, because what's interesting is that there's 14 states that have reenacted more or less that we can use gold or silver for a means of payment. And these laws vary somewhat from state to state. Some are just no taxes on precious metals. The point I'm making is that there's 14 states where you can conduct business. Well, if they put in the digital ID and you say, no, I'm not, and you're in a state that says you can trade gold and silver, it's kind of gold. Because what you could do is start trading in gold and silver. Now, right now, it's basically a paper tiger because no one's doing it that much.
Right.
But when they put the clamp on, people will be,
It will
the
spring
pressure
into
will
act.
happen.
What states are there?
It's on my website.
That's all I
can't
want
remember.
to. I'll pull it up as long as it's on your website because I thought it was 2 states. I know it was Utah, and I can't remember the other state that I know.
We'll get to
So
it.
apparently, I only know 1 state. Yes, then so that is that legit in your
It's
opinion?
legit, absolutely.
It's the way it
it's
should
a
be.
brilliant way to do it because the problem with gold is it's such a high value. When I wrote the 10 Rules of Silver Investing 4 years ago, it went like this because we didn't have these. I said, rule number 1, in the unlikely event of an all-out financial collapse, you would want to use silver as the money of last resort.
Right.
Because gold is too high a value per unit.
Right.
Whereas silver you could use to, buy bread and
I used to carry dimes.
Yeah.
The $290 10-cent piece or whatever, and I used to tell my subscribers, "This is what you want," because
you
I
can't
didn't
divide-
say what you just said, but I was trying to say it.
Yeah,
How about that?
But gold, here you go.
That's phenomenal.
And this is a brilliant idea. They're beautiful, and you can't really bend them. I mean, it's
How about this? I've been carrying one. I've been carrying that $1 bill, that one around for 3 years, and it's still in this shape.
immaculate
So
condition.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
So this is a great way.
you can literally melt it down.
Yeah, if you want it. Yeah.
Just want to go ahead. I just wanted to stress.
No, that's it. I mean, so this would be very easy. And going back to what I was saying, just to emphasize it, when the pressure's on, people do stuff. I think we all know that. You got that test, you got to pass it. You procrastinate, it's got to pass.
Black Friday, but with real consequences.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen.
So if that happens and they put the clamps on and you can't use it, well, I can use gold and silver. It'll start being used like that, and people catch on, spread word of mouth. It's the best advertising there is. You say, I got this. Well, I got these gold. I got 2 silver coins. Okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
Then you're spreading gold backs for 1 ounce of silver, and that's the way it goes. All of a sudden, hey, where do I get it? How do I do it? So I think that is already a gateway out of what I'll call the beast system.
Because so many things that I won't do. It's not going to just be, okay, the economy crashed, we got hacked, something bad happened, Russia. It's going to come along with, well, you're going to have to get this specific mark because, this mRNA shot, because whatever hacked us, they'll figure out a way to tie everything together. And then the social credit system is already rolling in Canada and China. China's been doing it for years. I covered the carrot program, the carrot, they called it, in Canada. And I'm looking at that going, I wouldn't even be on the list. Yeah. And if it comes down to what you just said, where this was enacted, where this was in play, there won't be any more videos. I have to imagine of people telling you that you'd have to know from word of mouth.
Yeah.
So half the country's not even going to know.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. Well, I spoke at the Red Pill conference a few years back. I've spoke there 2 times, I think. And, I go so far, and like I said, I usually kind of put a boundary on myself. But I didn't at that conference because it was right at the Internet of Things, number 5.
IoT.
Well, 5 is your toaster talks to your refrigerator that talks to your car, and, how you need to fill your refrigerator, you're out of milk and all that stuff. But 6 is Internet of People.
Yep.
I left it as an open question to think about it. How does it happen? Well, if you happen to take something that changes you,
Yeah.
then
they say it. That's Klaus Schwab, if you didn't catch that
and that is
impersonation.
the Internet of People. And I'm trying, now people there are awake, and it's like, that can't, you don't be labeled a conspiracy theorist at the Red Pill conference because people there are like the more awake of the awake, in my strong opinion.
Right, I agree.
So when I said Internet of People, they knew what I was talking about. But the paid audiences watching it live were like, wait a minute, he's gone too far.
The thing is, it's all, I mean, how many times did I show the book Klaus Schwab wrote or endorsed, whatever? I don't know if he wrote it, but it's in there.
Yeah.
The fourth industrial revolution, they're talking about it. It's the plan. It's not something they're thinking, it's the plan. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already on the internet
Yeah, they're on
in that manner and don't even realize it.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Yeah.
But we won't get into that. I'm going to try to keep this as smooth as we can so we don't get hit. But what else?
Well, why don't we talk about the books a little bit?
So ironically enough, not only did he bring this, and so did I, which I thought was odd, but I brought him a copy that I just got signed by the author, and I signed it myself because we said we were going to give away 10 of these, and my signature looks like a child did it, but it is what it is. Ironically, Dave did the same thing, but this is a book he wrote. What good is this to somebody, right? What will they learn from this?
Yeah, it's for people that are kind of silver nuts. I mean, I'll say that straight to the camera. The best book written on silver before this one, I think mine's a little bit better, was called Silver Bonanza, written by a friend of mine called Franklin Sanders.
I read,
started as Silver.
That was a long time ago, right?
Oh, a long time.
I remember
ago.
that.
And he went to jail for starting a silver bank. Can you imagine? Obeying the Constitution, he put in a bank, called it a bank, I think, and the federales gave him a free housing for a while. So that was the best book on silver ever written. And I said, my mission, freedom, but silver plays into that. I just wrote something, I'm going to digress a bit, but I wrote a thing about silver and, well, not silver, but honest money and freedom for the 4th of July. It's kind of inspired. I think the man upstairs gave me a hit and saying, people don't get it. It's not about wealth. It's about preserving wealth. It's about preserving your labor, really.
Right.
I mean, I'm not wealthy. I worked like, the average dude all my life, and now I got nothing at the end. Why is that?
Right.
Because I believed your system.
Right.
Well, if I bought into the original system and we're on a silver standard, and that was my savings, and I got this pile of, silver, it's not like a bank account that evaporates in front of you. Anyway, I digress.
No, but on that, the system is not, they pay their taxes, you go to work, you get direct deposit and everything. They've set up this system so they can be completely wiped out overnight. And oops, wasn't us.
Yeah.
Look, it's another national tragedy, but we've got a plan. Everyone will start over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want the government deciding how to start over, because the people that we have in place are running this place into the ground. They're doing everything that makes absolutely no sense, and they're saying lies that people believe because they just can't believe this is really happening. The lies are more palatable. Does that make any sense?
They're very good at propaganda. And
Wow.
they're very good at misinformation and disinformation. And so they'll we both know there's people that sound like us, don't look like us, but sound like us, and they got enough truth in there, but then they just push you off to one side. And there's certain topics that they'll never talk about.
Right.
Or there's things that they'll obfuscate and really kind of make it opaque. And, you don't want to hear that. Well, that Richie's gone too far this time. Or Morgan doesn't know what he's really talking about.
Right.
Or whatever. And that's deliberate. But yet there's people that are locked into that. And that's where spelling comes from, right? And I call it their magic spell, because they get people locked in.
You're right.
And all of a sudden they're, and then they start to move you where you want. I mean, as a thought experiment, take a blank piece of paper, put it down in front of yourself, and put something on that paper that's never been thought of before. You come up with an absolutely one-off original thought. It's pretty hard to do. Most people are working off of something they learned,
Right.
something they read,
Yeah.
something they saw on TV, and they think that they have free will. They think that they're independent thinkers.
You've got me sidetracked. Now I'm trying to think of something. Go ahead.
But-
I'm trying to think of an
but it's-
original thought.
But it's tough.
It is tough.
Because and part of it has to do with this, the way that the natural laws, which we are communal people. We need each other. We can't do it all on our own. You know how to, do plumbing better than I do. Well, I'll trade you the plumbing
Right.
for me helping you with
Which
something
is how
else.
everything's always been.
And that's why the community thing works so well.
Well, that's what we were talking about last night. It's astonishing how they've managed to split people, Republican, Democrat, Patriots, New York Giants, they've got it down to the most minute details now. Like they've got people fighting over just absolutely everything because what you're saying is true, and they can't have that. They can't have that. We were kids, you knew your neighbor. You went away for a weekend, your neighbor could see, oh, it's because you went away, because he told me, because we talked, because we're neighbors. I literally had somebody call me while I was on the road. I was on the road for 12 months asking me what the status of my neighbor 3 houses up's father was. And I'm like, but I'm in California and you're 3 houses up. You're asking me what's, I found that insane.
Yeah.
And they just thought it was, standard operating procedure. Like you'd know better than I. They're your neighbors.
Yeah.
Never meet them. They're 20 years. Nobody knows anybody. It's you guys have it better out here for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the cities and such, people don't talk to each other. They don't even look at each other. You go on a hiking trail, ride my mountain bike out in the woods. You see a hiker. Hey, because at some point we're out in the woods. Things happen. This bike, doing the bike, might come back and see me on the side of the road with a broken arm or worse. People don't even, it's astonishing. They'll look away when you're on a path. 2 people on earth passing each other, and one's looking away because something could go wrong. This guy could be, it's crazy how they have done this. The psychological operation, the broadcasting, the spell casting are all very real things. But I guess I'll digress on that.
Well, I think we have been, and especially in the West, in my opinion, that we've been inundated with this propaganda. The subconscious has been controlled. There is mind control, people, believe it or not. And it's been, in my opinion, subjected primarily through the intellect. And I think what we're missing in the West, especially, as I said, is speaking from the heart. And again, I'll go back to what I said early in our discussion, is the one thing that struck me the most about you wasn't that you tell it like it is. You're unashamedly you. You're one of the most authentic people on the web, on the podcast, but you speak from the heart. And that, I think, is something that we just do not get enough of, because you will help people. You'll take a shirt off your back to help somebody. And that's rare these days. And there's this blend of I want to sound like a new ager. It's very Christian to be totally aligned with your head, heart, and hands. You are the real authentic deal. And maybe if I can't help with my hands, I can help with my heart. If I can help with my heart, I can help with my head. But we're going to work it out where we are valuable to each other.
Right.
And we honor each other. And that's God. Like you said, I can't honor you because I don't like your haircut.
Right.
Or you wear glasses. Oh, well, Dave, you're not complete. Or, there's a reason. And they feed that over and over again.
Everything you just said about some of the traits that I have, where I'm from, it cost me unbelievably, because everyone's like, oh, good to see you, walk away. He thinks this, you know what I mean? And these are all these things, all these major things that I've been, oh, he's a conspiracy. It's all news now. It's all just mainstream now. Yeah. It's like, do you remember the time I told you that? Because here it is. Now you believe it? And you still don't think it's a problem? It's astonishing. It all comes out in the end, apparently, but you pay a huge price for it. And I was in an unfortunate situation. They'd already ruined my life, so I couldn't go anywhere but up. Or I couldn't go any deeper, I thought. And I wasn't married and I didn't have any kids. So I was in, during the lockdowns, there was a lot of leverage they couldn't use against me. Mm-hmm. Remember, you can't see your grandkids unless, you can't go to school unless, you can't go to work unless they had it. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. And like you had mentioned, the propaganda, the spell casting, whatever you want to call it, they've been studying this our entire lives, and there's patents to prove it. And there's focus groups, and there's presidents coming out going, yeah, we used to do mind control, but we stopped. Believe us, we stopped because you caught us, but now we don't do it anymore. It's just, it's insane to see how far. I never thought I'd live I never thought I'd live to see this. Mm-hmm. I always thought I was preparing people for maybe sometime down the road, and it seems like down the road you can actually see it now,
Well, let's talk about how much of a farce it is that these governments are fighting each other. I'm not trying to downplay what's going on, with the Russia war and the Middle East and all that. But when you get down to the bigger picture, when this illness happened, they all converged to the same thing. Well, if they don't get along, then why didn't one of them say, not us?
That's right.
That's something out of that country.
That's
We
right.
don't believe it, or we're not doing it,
That's
or
right.
my people don't have to do it. But the only ones that actually stood up were like 3 black guys in Africa.
That was showing that fruit could test positive. I remember them.
Yeah.
What happened to those guys?
No, I think they had an accident.
It's unbelievable how everybody that knows something that could put somebody else in trouble always ends up in an unfortunate ending. All right. What you were, I forget what you were talking about.
Too. So you start.
I don't want to start. You start. All right. Well, how about this? When you get a chance, give this book a read. I've told people about this. 𝗵𝗿𝗆, he wrote this book and another one called Confusion in Christianity, Confusion in the Cosmos. 2 of the best books I ever had, because it actually literally made me spend more time focusing on things that weren't of this world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And right now, it's a really, really solid book. I wish everybody would just at least read it once. It's daunting when you look at the pages, but I mean, I read it 4 times.
Wow.
4 times. But
well, it's one of the most controversial topics, but we could go there because I'm not afraid to do anything with you. And
no. Let's stick with stick with whatever you're comfortable with, or whatever you think you need to get out. I'm just mentioning that because I always mention my.
Well, I'm gonna switch over to my documentary because it's almost done, and what it has to do is with the control of money. People. So I'm gonna be.
Is it easy to understand?
Oh,
will I be able to understand?
Yeah, I'm trying to make it ubiquitous.
Okay,
it's good for
okay.
everybody, universal. Because people have asked, why did I get on the money topic? And because it was called. That's my answer. But the more I thought about it, was money transcends everything.
Absolutely.
Religion, national origin, your country, what you do for a living. Everybody's worried about their money. And so you can't be more of a generalist than the money topic.
Right.
And so now you look at it in a way that I, learned, taught, and studied, and that is it becomes a control mechanism. The money powers, I call it. And I go, if I really want to change the world, I have to push back against the money controllers. And that's what the documentary's about. It's about the control and stress that money causes everybody. If you look up on the internet, and I did this, and it might come out in a different number, but the idea is correct. I said, what's the number 1 cause of stress for people worldwide? It's finance. It's money. It's a divorce. I'm divorcing you. You don't make enough money. Or the house we bought, and there's so much around that. And when they have control of it, they control us.
Absolutely.
And so that's what my documentary is about. It's the spiritual side of money. It's what do we have to do? And I want to flip it upside down, because what do they teach us? You're not good enough. You don't know enough. You need this. So you need to get someone that cooks your food, someone that teaches you this, someone that can, fix your car, someone that gets your food for. You can't do anything on your own. So master,
Jack of all trades, master of none.
No, that's out. It's the other
Here's
way.
something I've noticed that's happened a lot. First of all, this generation behind me, for some reason, all of a sudden, getting together with someone else is specific. He doesn't make enough money. I mean, it's an enormous genre on all platforms. If he doesn't make 6 figures, and you don't even get time of day. That type of a relationship never works based off of money. Love is a thing that's becoming obsolete. It's crazy,
So
man.
sad.
It's crazy, and it's programmed into everything that we're running into every single solitary day. But the other thing, right off of what you said, where I'm from, the cities, everyone's together. They don't talk, they don't interact, but people's success is dependent on not what they do, not the knowledge they have or what they can do to help others or build things or anything. It's how many people do I employ for myself. I don't know how to do anything because I don't have to. I pay a guy to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like collecting cards, but you're collecting people. And at the sad end of it is if you lose all your money, now you have no money and you don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, right.
I watched that when I first started, and I watched it get larger and larger and larger. And then with the advent of social media, people are making millions of dollars doing nothing. They're doing what I'm doing right now, except we picked the wrong genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know.
When you're trying to actually help people get through this, yeah, that's frowned upon. You know, if you want to talk about things that make zero difference or make people more immoral, you're a millionaire, dude. Like it's Bitcoin on steroids. It's crazy. So you're absolutely on it, man.
So we asked different people a lot of different questions, and it boils down to, you know, if you had one thing or two things to help turn things around, what would they be? And a lot of it comes down to different things. I mean, you know, education, you know, better food supply. I mean, just the fact that we get so much garbage and all this food is, you know, chemically produced or chemically altered, you know, has, I think, a lot to do with the health of the country.
Without a doubt. And then now look at our schools. I mean, this isn't even going too deep because this boat's never going to get turned around. But, you know, we're Americans. Look at this. Look at the school ratings, the intelligence. I don't even know how to say it right, but the United States is at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
When we were kids, you went into a store to get a candy bar. There was like 4 of them.
Yeah.
You go in the stores now, every store, they're all corporate stores, first of all. They're not owned by anybody. They're owned by a conglomerate. And all the aisles are just never ending. Like you could spend all day in there if you're actually picking something. It's insane. And none of it is actually food.
Yeah.
But hey, there's no law against that.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to take off on that topic. There
Have
was
at
a
it.
book written, it was written by a Frenchman, an economist. I forget his name, I give credit, but it's 𝗏𝗵𝗿𝗍. And what he talks about is when you have too much and how it goes pretty quickly where it can start coming down rather rapidly. And people get fat, dumb, and happy. And they're not willing to take any action because they don't need to. You know, if I have a problem, I'll call. Or I got this, or it's on speed dial, or my neighbor knows how to do that, or whatever it is. And so they become more and more dependent rather than independent. And when the machine breaks or when it stops, then all of a sudden they're in a new reality.
Everybody's a victim.
And they're
waiting for a savior.
It's not my fault, so the government will fix it. And as Reagan said, you know, if the problem is the government, you know, that's not a solution. But we're taught otherwise. And so I think we're getting to that point very rapidly. And will metal save you? No, but they may give you a barter situation that, you know, that helps you or gives you a better advantage than somebody else. I want to go on that. I'm going to digress. I do all the time. But, you know, people want to go, don't do anything. And I said, look, I live in the Washington state, and we produce a lot of wheat. Now, that farmer, when things stop, he's got a wheat problem. He's got, you know, more wheat than he can eat for you 400
I thought you said
years.
weed.
I'm sorry.
No, I just caught the wheat the second time. Never mind.
So he's got a wheat problem. So
All
what's
right.
he going to do? He's going to off that wheat. But do you think he's going to take another big screen TV when everything collapses? No.
Right.
He's going to take a silver coin, a gold coin.
Right.
He might take a tire or maybe a part or something I can pound out and give him in metal that repairs something for him. But he's not going to be worried about, you know, something that's not useful to him. But he's got to trade that wheat for something.
Right.
And there's, you know, Montana, you know, it's like more beef than there are people per capita, right? I mean, he's got a beef problem.
Yes, there are.
So what I'm saying is, look, the economy actually, I mean, it could change drastically, but there's an economy. People have got to trade. You've got something I want, I have something you want, let's make a deal. How do you make it? Well, you can swap, or you can use coins or whatever, but it's not going to end things. It's going to keep going.
Right. Well, my biggest point with gold and silver was telling people, would you rather just wait to wake up? I'm not going to say they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. Everything you've ever worked for is gone. I would rather at least have it in my hand or in my possession where somebody can't hit a button someplace and delete something physical that I actually have that's actually worth something. Because, I mean, a lot of people have worked their entire lives. They've played the game. They've done whatever the system, any hoops they've had to.
Yeah.
I've heard people very, very close to me go, an event occurred yesterday and it just cost me $250,000. And I'm like, how could you? You know what I mean? Like, because people never cash out. They'll never walk away when they're up. You know what I mean? They'll just let it ride. But they've already warned us that there's going to be a digital attack. And we've already seen it. I covered this I think it was in end of 2024, when suddenly massive swaths of the telecoms went down. Mm-hmm. Massive swaths. And then all of a sudden banks started going down. And I'm looking at them like, if I was going to shut down the entire country, I'd probably have to test it to see if it's going to work. Because it would suck to try it and it fail, and then they find out it was you. So you test a few places. They were shutting down banks. Well, banks are out. People, your bank, remember, was it Bank of America? Mm-hmm. You go to the bank, you check your balance, and it's zero. It should be in like the 7 or 6 figures, whatever. I don't know. But I would rather have it in hand. It was never always about bartering. It's just the fact that they could actually wait till everybody got almost to the end and then sweep. National debts doesn't matter anymore because all the money's gone. It wasn't us. It was probably Russia or China. I never bought the China thing. Why would China ever mess with us when without us they go back to being rickshaws and such? You know what I mean?
I want to come back to the documentary. So after it should be
when's it coming out?
Probably a month, 2 at the most. I found somebody to finish the final edit, and he's working really hard and fast, and it's coming out very well.
Cool.
I showed a trailer at the Money Show, but what I'm going to do once it's out is there any people like you that aren't in it? I say, Richie, I couldn't get everybody in it that I wanted to.
It's not possible.
But if you were in it, what would you say would be your number one thing to make this place a better place? What would you want to do? What would you want us to change?
It's too long of a list.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you're going to put me on the spot, I'd like to see our money to be actually backed up by something so they couldn't print it into oblivion. But I don't think that can't happen now, right?
Doesn't look like it.
Because remember Trump was going to go. They're going to go straight. Fort Knox. We're going to go there right away.
Of course.
Everybody already forgot about it.
Yeah.
I remember reading and having guys like yourself on 10 years ago that were like, "There's nothing in Fort Knox, bro. That's gone."
Yeah.
And then you had the Q movement saying that Trump just went over to Antarctica secretly and got $300 trillion of our gold back.
Yeah, right.
From someplace, but that doesn't manifest. I'd like to see our money actually backed up again like it was. Because then there's some balance there.
Yeah.
When you're just printing it, you're just printing it. Yeah. Counterfeit bills at a strip bar.
Yeah.
Who cares?
If I could just say it, same thing, maybe more impact, and it's my specialty, or I think it is if you believe in the money power, if they have all the money power and they're getting more with the CBDC, or, hey, no, the government's not involved, we'll let BlackRock run it. It's a private corporation. It'll be good that way, Richie.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So the more power they get.
And they're good people. Peter Thiel's a phenomenal guy. He's just a good guy.
So if they have the power, they have the control. So we have the power, meaning the money power, because it is coins, period. Let's just say it's just gold and silver coins. There is no currency piece of paper behind, well, this is real gold, but there's no currency behind it. It's just the coins. Then we have the power. So if we have the money power, then we are in control. But if they have the money power, they're in control. And they're looking for more control, not less.
No, more. I mean, literally. The president made all these promises the first day in office. He's in the White House with the richest 1% of the earth. And he literally, we're in such a debt because of Biden. And then he hands $500 billion right off to these guys that are already the richest 1%.
Oracle and Sam Altman.
It's insane. It's insane. But these guys know the money's not backed up by anything. They know it's all a joke. So why do they even do that public display? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's part of the mind control, really. I mean, there's so many. How many people are still on the Trump train? A lot have come off, but it's just.
He's made it worse in the last couple of days we've been there. Just FYI, I did catch that when I was.
You're ahead of me. Usually,
just on that little. Yeah.
But the idea that it's the I'm a victim. Someone has to help me. I don't know what to do. No, you got to flip that around. God made me. I've got everything I know I need. I've got a head, heart, and hands, and I'm going to get through this no matter what. No one has that kind of an attitude anymore. It's all about being a victim. I can't do it. I need somebody. Oh, the government. I need them, or I need the banker, or I need whatever.
There's so few of them left. Dave's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them, but time keeps going.
Yeah.
And I, like we were saying last night, I'm really thinking that, and I said this a decade ago, they're just going to wait till we die. Because once we die, the bloodline behind us has been copied and copied and copied. It's just so thin, and they've been beaten down. They started with political correct. They did it smart.
Yeah,
and then it just expanded and got worse and crazier. Men and women's bath. I mean, it just got crazier and crazier and crazier. People are afraid to say words now. You know what I mean? Like words. I don't know.
No, I've caught myself,
Self-censoring.
Censor myself. Because I know
they've been working on this for 5 years. I catch myself doing it too, and it's like, you can't do it, but there's instant repercussions. It's like, do I want to get this information out, or do I want to say it exactly as it should be?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to.
No.
It's brilliant. I mean, they literally got truthers to completely not tell the truth at all. I still do it. And ever since they gave me my channels back, they don't mess with me.
Yeah.
But I'm also absolutely unmonetizable.
Well, let's talk about that, because, we both are, I'm curious, and I think you agree with me, and you asked me, I think, why? And I think the answer is the AI wants all sides. It wants the biggest database it can get.
Well, look
If
when
I
they
got
gave the
gone-
channels back, because you had Face Like the Sun, you sat down with him, you're sitting down with me,
Yeah.
you're talking to True Stream Media.
Yeah.
True Stream Media never went out.
Okay.
They never got taken down. Gone's did, because
Yeah.
Gone touched too close. True Stream Media, you were talking about a video last night of by them, and I went obsolete.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what you were talking about. Incredible information, but I guess they had what I don't have. They pulled back when they saw it coming, and I was like, it doesn't matter. Full speed ahead.
Right.
These guys, I was showing everything. These guys are doing it. This is the proof. This is the doctors. I told people it was going to happen beforehand. You shouldn't be able to do that, They were smart about it, but all of us now, some people are still self-censoring, but I've realized that I can say whatever I want. I'm saying some straight up stuff that wasn't acceptable prior, but now it is.
Exactly.
It has to be to feed the beast.
Yeah.
It has to be to give them every single solitary, what I'm thinking, what you're thinking, and what everybody in the comments, those valuable, that information, the new currency,
Right.
which I don't even understand. But it is a thing. The information, that's what they're telling us. It's the new currency.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Well, they monetize it because they know what your likes and dislikes are. And so when you're talking just to your friends or whatever, the phone hears you, and all of a sudden you said, I wonder what I need that new whatever for my truck. And the next thing you come to your phone, and all of a sudden,
Hey,
there's
you
that
need
doodad for your truck. Wait a minute.
And the thing is, it's not just like, well, dude, it knows you need eggs and milk. It's done it to me when I was alone. I'm like, I need this thing. And it's a very complicated thing. Well, you Googled it. No, I didn't. I've had it happen. And ironically, you and I were talking about, the three of us were talking about Dan Dix from Press for True TV. Since we were talking about it, he put a video out. It's out today.
Wow.
That your phone is not only listening, making a 180-degree dome right now. I'm almost positive it can see all of us.
Yeah.
It's on cars. Cars can see you from above, from the top of your side view mirrors. I'm positive that can do that as well. But Dan's has gone a step further where he said it's literally reading your mind. Because you're thinking something, and next thing you know, the ad pops up for it. And the woman, fairly attractive, I can't remember her name, she worked for Facebook Building 7, and she came out and did this huge speech for Facebook. The whole wall behind her was blue and purple sigils, just random new, and I start looking them up, and I'm like, this is all super demonic stuff. They have it all up there, and she was saying, Facebook will soon be able to read your mind. But only the thoughts you want to share.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, everybody stop using Facebook right now. And ironically, I'm back on it because I realized it's too late. They already, I mean, look at this. You know what I mean? Pretty much everything except this water bottle is digital, and I still can't prove it till I cut it open. But yeah, Dan just came out with a video saying that they don't even need keystrokes anymore.
Wow.
And he goes into the paperwork and everything behind it. So, remember the movie Idiocracy? Did you ever set?
I've watched it a couple times. I don't know.
It's a tough movie to watch,
Yeah.
but wow, is it getting close? Because now Trump's going to have a UFC fight with 20,000 people at the White House. How in the world are you going to pull security off for 20,000 fight fans from all over the world on the grounds of the White House? How is that not idiocracy right there? You know, I mean, a wrestling federation guy is the president. Do you remember Trump going in the ring a couple times? I mean, it's ticking all the boxes.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're at this point right now. But you know what? You know what's awesome is there's still people. I'm not. You know, it is what it is. There's still people like us that when no one's looking, the cameras aren't running, we're still going. We're still literally worrying. What else can I do?
Yeah.
One of the biggest benefits to me, I have 9 channels total, 9. I tried doing them all, and it's like, dude, you don't leave the computer. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. Can't put a different video up on every channel, keep everybody happy, whatever. But with this AI stuff, I could literally give it a couple of pictures, give it some video, and say, this is what I want the video about, and in a second, it'll go, whoop, and it'll make the video. You can do that now. I told you there's a video of Donald Trump saying, go see me by name at a conference in Kentucky. And when you watch it, he's saying it. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I can't do that. I'd still rather do it the old school way, but nobody else is doing that.
No.
They're giving it right up. They're giving this thing all it needs. And every day it says something more and more terrible about itself, terrifying things about it. I think AI is just a phone to another dimension. I think it's just straight evil.
Well, you were one of the first on Jordy Rose, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tsunami of demons. A tsunami, a never ending. We're summoning them right now. I mean, they were saying it. I still have it. They were saying it over and over. That's why I had Anthony Patch on every other day. You know what I mean? Till he decided to go his own separate way. But I mean, Anthony Patch, Jordy Rose had Anthony on a billboard behind him going, these guys think we're summoning a demon just because that's what we said.
Yeah. How rare.
What's wrong with that? You know, we were just saying we were going to do it, you know, like we're actively, and then everyone, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, every one of them was like, yes, we're building this thing that's going to destroy us. We don't know how fast it's going to be, but we need all your taxes to do it, and we're going to keep doing it. It makes no sense, you know? So, at any rate, how long have we gone?
I don't know.
Hour and a half? Really?
I'm pretty done. I mean, I can keep going, but I think I've covered everything I want.
Let me reset. Give yourself a minute, all right?
Okay.
Let's give it 5-10 minutes. I'm going to shut these down, let them cool down.
Okay.
And if anything else that pops up, we swap out batteries. I'll keep going.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys, that wraps it up. I know this was a long one. Hopefully I can upload this with no problems. We didn't make an outro because who cares? At any rate, links to everything will be below, and there will be a separate video on Jailbreak Overlander, links below, on the camp that Dave has on his property. And if you want to get off-grid, I mean, I'm talking off-grid, and see some really amazing country, hit up his hip camp. Links will be below. It is a glamping experience, and it's $45 a night. I mean, are you kidding me? And they feed you, and it's really great company. I will be doing it again, and you should too, if you can. At any rate, Richie from Boston. Links to everything will be below. I am out.